Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Riverdale, Season 1, Episode 7. It's called In a Lonely Place. Oh, sorry, Chapter 7, In a Lonely Place. Must get it? Must get it
Don't
accurate.
forget that chapter.
It's important. So that's the episode. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. And I'm going to call this episode, I'm going to give it a subtitle. My own subtitle that I want to give it is in which we almost thought Fred Andrews was also a dick parent, but then it turned out, no, he's actually still perfect. It's okay.
Accurate. Very accurate.
Well, first things first, the opening narration, it was accompanied by a sort of daydream sort of vision of the cast all in like their classic 50s outfits. Jughead and his shirt with the S, Archie with the R, and Betty and Veronica made up all 50s. Like I'm sure old school fans of the comics got a kick out of that.
Yeah, it was a nice little nod, wasn't it?
Yeah, nice little thing. Get to see that. But the main bulk of the episode, two main plots on the go, were, well, it's kind of a third as well. But the main plot, of course, was really Jughead and his dad FP, and we sort of learnt about his history and that stuff. Meanwhile, we had the Polly stuff that was obviously, I thought the episode would be more focused on that. But it was still a big part of it, don't get me wrong. But I thought, when I saw images before the episode of like search parties, I thought, alright, this is going to be them all searching for the episode.
Yeah, and I think given how we left off last week, that felt like the obvious route that it would be.
Yeah. And then the other plot would be, as it's referred to by Kevin, the Cold War between the lodges. So that was sort of the three main things. So start with Jughead's plot. Jughead and Archie discovers that Jughead is living in the school in a closet. And,
why not?
And of course is distressed by this. It is like, hey Jughead, you can't live with me. I mean, my dad's not going to throw up that much fuss.
We've got a couch.
Yeah, there's a couch.
It's got a bit of cupboard, right?
He's living out his Harry Potter fan fiction. He wants to be the boy under the
Jughead
cupboard.
definitely has Harry Potter fan fiction.
Nah, you know what? I think he's too cool for that. He strikes me as the kid who doesn't watch the mainstream stuff, but does watch Akira Kurosawa movies.
See, I would agree, but I bet he was like, I read all the book. I read the books beforehand.
Oh, before it was cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think there was like 3 or 4 books before the first movie, so he's got like 3 or 4 books before it was mainstream.
There was at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, very cool. But yeah, so the police come down to see him, and they're actually staring at his murder board, thinking, "Oh, he's obsessive. Look at this." But they take him down to the police station because he had a bit of a record. He was at juvie for almost burning down his elementary school with some matches, and the sheriff just kind of, like, you've got a deadbeat dad, you get bullied at school, you kind of fit the profile for someone who might kill him.
Yeah.
And Jughead gets offended and he asks for a lawyer, which doesn't look great, admittedly. Like, if you're in that situation, I don't think, oh, I want a lawyer, I'm not answering anymore. It doesn't look particularly great, but I think it actually works in terms of everything we see about him and his family in this episode. We get why he is more opposed to being cooperative, giving his father and what his father's went through, and we hear parts of that story and how his dad didn't go to prison, but he was arrested several times and bailed out and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it sets up, and I think we obviously will learn the history of both their dads and how FP did start the construction company with Fred, but he was doing stuff on the side. He was perhaps stealing money. According to Fred, he was stealing money, allegedly stealing money.
Yeah.
And Fred had to bail him out, and eventually he's like, Rick, I won't take this further, but we're counting that as a payoff, and the company's staying with me because you're not dragging me down with you. And
Very reasonable.
I think it's very reasonable as well. I think, Archie's slightly pissed at his dad for a little bit until he gives his side of the story, and then it's like, yeah. But the one point he does get at the end is like, yeah, but you didn't care if Jughead get drowned as well. Their analogy, we're talking about drowning the entire time. That was the metaphor.
But I think Archie's being a bit of a dick here.
No.
What was Fred meant to do? Hey, yeah, cool, destroy the company.
Oh, no, I agree. I don't think Fred did anything wrong, but I get why Archie is looking at it from that perspective. He's not really caring how it affected Jughead's dad. He's just looking at it, this is how it's affecting Jughead. This is my friend, this is my perspective.
I get that, but he should go, well, what else were you supposed to do?
Sure, but he's Archie. He's a bit of a moron, and
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
he's not particularly bright. So I can see it. I think. I mean, that storyline was sort of delving into awkwardness here or there. You know, the scene with, because Fred rehires them. They go for dinner that night. Them and the boys, and Fred's going to pay for it, even though FP said it was on him. And it's this really awkward moment. He insists Pops comes back so he can pay for it, and it feels a bit. And that's what leads to the revelations, because he tells.
Bit of a power play, isn't it?
Bit of a power play. It's really awkward. There's a couple of scenes in this one actually where there's awkward. The one later on when Fred comes down and like gives Jughead an alibi. He's like, no, he was working for me that week that you wanted to know his whereabouts. He was working for me. He was doing some drywall. Blah 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 blah. And Jughead's dad only just shows up as after he's gotten out. He's been late. He's not listened to the phone calls. He's presumably been passed out on the couch in a drunken stupor, because we see he's got a drinking problem all episode. And that's what really made this plot work for me more than anything was Jughead and the acting from him. His reactions, both in this scene where his dad basically says, "Look, you probably should go and live with him. I just need some time to sort myself out." And he's like, "You believe me that I'm going to do it, right?" And the only word, like, he's actually quiet this entire time, and then he eventually just says, "Yeah, I believe you." And you kind of think, no, he doesn't. Even if he wants to believe it, sure, but I don't think he actually does. He's saying this because, as he says to Archie in the scene afterwards, I don't want to give up on him yet, but it's feeling kind of hopeless at this point.
Yeah, and his acting really does sell it this episode.
Yeah, his acting sells that. The other moment that really I thought worked really well is when he takes his dad home after the dinner and he's like passing out on the couch and he's telling him about his mum and his sister and what they're up to, and as if his dad might really care, and his dad like passes out, and you could see it coming. You could tell he was going to be sleeping when he looked up. But the disappointment in his face, and like what I kind of liked about it, I think, is that it wasn't like magically fixed by the end of the episode. It still felt like a tug of war the whole time. Yeah,
I also like that scene there that we're just talking about. Yeah, it's kind of obvious as a viewer what was going to happen, but it's not like it doesn't get brought up over and over. These things, it's just told in the moment in the acting, and that's it. There's no dialogue that tells us his reaction and how he felt about it, and I appreciate that it did that.
Yeah, they don't feel the need to tell us everything. They just show it. Show, don't tell. Filmmaking 101, show don't tell.
It is 101, but there's a surprising amount of TV shows that ignore that.
Yeah, they really do. I think what that also, like us saying, we can see that coming. The reason why I still think it works as well is because he almost is ignorantly believing that he won't be asleep in a sense. Like he just wants to believe it so much that he is believing it in spite of all the facts and the obvious tells. And that's why at the end when he is hugging his dad and he's like, "Yeah, I believe you," and you know he doesn't believe him. You feel like, "Oh, you've let me down too many times. Now I can't actually have the optimism."
He sees the same as what we see at this point.
Yeah. It's like over the course of the episode. It's a real shame for him because he starts off kind of that way and then he gets some hope as he's kind of working things out, and then it just all kind of dives at the end again as his dad messes up repeatedly.
Yeah.
So, but no, Jughead sold that. Speaking of Jughead, that moment. So Betty's upset about Polly, and they're in the common room, in the high school, and they're all talking about it. First of all, don't talk about it too loud. Someone was clearly overhearing you and texting Cheryl in the background.
I know. I was just like,
don't be silly.
Do you not think, this is hush hush? Maybe we should have a look around, check no one's looking.
Or at least
Cheryl herself could have been stood right behind them, and they'd have had no idea. Talking
quieter tones, maybe. That's maybe something you could do at the very least.
Look, if you want to have a private conversation, that's all well and good. But if you're going to have it in public very loudly, don't be surprised if someone hears you.
However, the moment I wanted to address was, so she's upset and Jughead just puts his hand around her shoulder and and she grabs his hand very affectionately, and I love that it cut to reactions of both Archie and Veronica and how different each reaction was. Archie was like, "Hey," I know I turned her down, but hey, she's still kind of
mine.
Yeah, kind of mine. And then Veronica's like, "Oh," she's just excited in the gossipy way that one would be, and. What I liked about this revelation, though, and what it did to later scenes, is the scene with Archie and Betty, and he's like, it's when they're out looking for Polly and they're out on their search parties, and he's like, I'm really sorry that I wasn't there for you when you were going through all this stuff with Polly. That was a tough time for you over the summer, and I wasn't there because you were too busy banging a teacher, you tit. But do you know what I love about that is they don't say it, but you completely get he's guilty. He sees that Jughead's been there for her, and this bond has grown because he's been absent. And I don't even necessarily think. I mean, I have no doubt that at some point Archie's going to have feelings for Betty. Of course, it's going to happen. I don't think it's happening yet, though. I don't think that's what this is yet. I think this is he was the best friend who was always there for her, and then he abandoned her for a summer because sex was on the table elsewhere, and he's seen that this thing's grown because he was neglectful of a friend, and I think the guilt is there, and I think he was trying to make himself feel better and apologise about it. But I can see through it, you ginger devil. I can see through it.
Understandable.
You're selfish.
He is very selfish. He spent the whole summer having sex with a teacher instead.
I mean, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying make time during the day for your friends.
Or at least in the evenings. Do it the other way around if you must.
Yeah, whatever. Treat the sex with a teacher like meals. You get your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, but in between the meals, you get free time. Go.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like that. I like that bit of character building. It was there. So I think that'll. Yeah, we'll go into Veronica's plot. We'll save Polly's main stuff for last. So Veronica's having the Cold War, as it was put, with her mum, and she's buying stuff online, which the doorman's bringing in, which is the doorman. I don't know if we've addressed this since someone told us in the comments, but Connor was pissed that they were supposed to be kind of struggling, and they've got a butler, and someone pointed out it's not a butler, it's just a doorman.
It threw me off because he like this one, it made very sense. Oh, it was just packages that had been delivered.
Yeah.
But the other one was dry cleaning, and I've never known a dry cleaners to deliver. So I was
Places do it.
Apparently, I've just never encountered it.
But anyway, so he's bringing packages, and there's a great scene where she's going out clubbing. Now, I've got another. Oh, that's right. These people are supposed to be 15. I've got a conversation about that in a minute. So she's like, oh, you're going clubbing. It's a school night, and you're going clubbing. She's like, well, yeah, because I'm mad at you. What was the phrase she used? She said she had like an ace in the hole or something like that.
So yeah, I've got something on you.
Yeah, and she storms out, and she's like, well, if you called Dad right now and admit that you forged my signature and blah 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 blah, and she's like, no, I'm not doing that, and she just left, and she went clubbing. Well, here's the thing though. So they're at clubbing. Josie's there, Kevin's there, and Reggie's there, and they're dancing, and they all sit down. They're all drinking. I'm like, wait. Are they drinking alcohol? And then later on, when the waiter comes and the whole thing about the card being declined because her mother's cut her off, and Reggie makes a comment, yeah, we'll be happy to tell them how old we are, as if it'll get the place out of trouble. I'm like, oh, they are. Well, see,
I was thinking maybe not, because Josie says, oh, you want to be hydrated. So I was like, all right, well, that's probably not alcoholic then.
Yeah, but then the Reggie comment made me think, oh, they are drinking booze. And all I could think was, okay, this kind of works for us because they look so old that I buy that they would let them in. But then I'm thinking, wait, but if they're actually supposed to be 15...
Maybe they got fake IDs.
Would that even work for a 15-year-old, though? You might be 21.
It's a fair point.
You might be 21. 15...
It's a big stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, I buy an 18-year-old with a fake ID. You look 21, sure.
Yeah,
but 15? I mean, and again, this is the weird thing with it being a show, and they're all in their 20s, right? I get that it's different.
That was why I had to think about it. I was like, oh, fake ID. But then I was like, hang on, that is a real stretch, 15 to 21, now that you say it like
15, maybe 16. Some of them might be supposed to be 16.
All right, fine.
But even that, still a stretch. So that's that, and they make a sort of pact at home, and then they call her father, but we never get to hear the conversation, because they've not cast him yet, let's be honest. That's why we don't hear that conversation.
Oh, obviously.
Because they've not cast her dad yet.
It's coming for season 2.
He's going to be a main character in season 2. It's so obvious they're building to it. Which, by the way, it got renewed.
Oh yeah, it did. That was just this week, wasn't it?
That was this week, yeah. We've not done the news video yet, but it's been renewed. So that's cool. Right, so that was basically it. But so obviously the other main plot was Polly, Betty worried about Polly. She finds her in her attic, and there was some good horror-esque synth going on as she was searching in there. Before we get to that, though, I actually really like, because everyone starts accusing Polly of being the killer. Like the Blossoms are like, because Cheryl wasn't here last week, nice to see Cheryl back, and her and her family, Polly's the killer, she escaped the lunatic asylum, once before, and that's when she killed him. And you know what? Betty's mum is much of a grade A cow that she is. She did do something smart here. She says, well, we can nip this in the bud right away. We'll announce the pregnancy. And I have to admit, I really enjoyed the reactions of all the Blossoms during that scene.
To be fair to the Blossoms, it wasn't an unfair conclusion to jump to, given the the murder itself with the evidence that was there.
Oh yeah, like if you look at it from their perspective, a girl from a mental asylum who he was dating has escaped.
As conveniently as the evidence is destroyed.
As evidence is destroyed, yeah. I mean, there's links to be made, sure. Yeah. But again, it's very contextual because we know enough to know that it's probably not her. Very unlikely that it's her. Especially since we've seen her react to the news that he's even dead last week.
It would be strange if they twisted it into that.
Yeah. But I thought that was a very smart move, and there was no way... There's no way the Blossoms could turn around and say anything against that, really. So...
It's true.
I thought that was quite smart on her part. But of course, Betty now fears... She inquires with her parents, will the baby live here if Polly comes home? And it seems like they're going to make her put it up for adoption, even though she doesn't want to. Yeah. So Cheryl overhears part of this at some point when she's telling someone else, and she's like, oh, the Blossoms can help. We've got money. That's easy. And she gets her parents to help. But we actually find out that Cheryl has a human side after all.
What a surprise.
Because at the end...
A legitimate surprise.
When Polly's with everyone at the diner and at Pop's and they're waiting for the Blossoms to show up, Cheryl shows up early and says, I don't actually think they want to help you. I think it's not safe. And it's the most human we've seen Cheryl be. And I was like, well, maybe the Tin Woman does have a heart after all.
Maybe she does.
So
I'm still not convinced. Her reaction about the pregnancy and just all of it, it's just like... Just jealousy.
Oh yeah, I still think there's incest going on.
Oh, aye.
Actually,
even if it's not, she's playing it like there is.
See during the opening, the 50s scene, and it cut across the table, and Jason was there, and he was with Polly, right? But for a second, I thought it was Cheryl in a wig, and I think it's just because they were holding hands, and I am so dead set on there being incest between them that I thought that was...
I also think though, even if there's not. The actress is playing it like she thinks there is. Like just some of the reactions and just the way it's done, it makes me think that she's at least playing into it.
Yes, I still think that's a possibility. But yeah, so Polly's living with the Lodges.
Yes,
because it's a neutral ground that is not part of the blood feud between the Blossoms and the Coopers. Not to confuse that with the blood feud between the Andrews and the Joneses.
The Lodges is Switzerland.
Yes.
Jeez, that was a long pause there.
I had to remember which family we were talking about there, and I was like, right, okay, that makes sense. Yes. Well, in that analogy though, then who are the other four? We've got two conflicts. Presumably, we have the Blossoms are Nazi Germany.
Aye, obviously.
Polly's Poland.
yeah.
The Coopers are Britain? Maybe?
Yeah, that'd kind of work.
Yeah, I guess. And then Andrews.
They're like, I think they're America, because they're going to kind of sweep in at the end and help out.
And then that would make the Joneses Japan?
Japan or Russia? Because Russia kind of play their own game as well.
Yeah, and he's in the Serpents, and he had that line about being a snake, by the way, because Hermione walks in when he's getting his job back. He's like, "Oh, this is awkward." But of course, that leads us to the final moment of the episode. So, FP still a wreck, still a drunk, and we see he's at home, and we see something he has in his possession. He has Jason's jacket, his Letterman jacket, which was in the car, which at the very least confirms that he, and possibly the Serpents as a whole, were responsible for burning the car and the evidence. I don't think that makes him the killer, but it is an interesting development.
But it suggests, at least for now.
Yeah, I don't think he's the killer. I think it's
too early to get that big a clue.
For some reason, someone has paid him off, or the Serpents off, to burn the car.
They seem like such an easily manipulated organization in that sense that they'll take money and do whatever. They'll do the job.
Yeah.
So it just feels too obvious that it's that.
Yeah, it does. It feels too obvious to be him. Honestly, for who it could be at this point, it's still kind of up in there. It could be anyone almost. The most shocking, or the most obviously shocking, would be Fred, I still think.
I kind of hope it's true, just so that he can have one thing that he isn't perfect about.
But then, where would Archie and Jughead live if Fred goes to prison? Keeping in mind, they're only about 15, 16.
They'll move into the new lodge mansion.
Hey, Veronica, since Polly's with you already, can we stay as well? So it'll be Polly or Baby, Archie
one
Jughead.
big happy family.
Yeah. And Hiram Lodge is just going to hate them all. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Oh, I can't wait to see who they cast as him.
Yeah, it's going to be a big cast in that.
Yeah. I think, actually, do you know what? See, now we're halfway through the season. Yeah, because we're at 7 out of 13. This is the mid episode. I actually think it was a smart idea to leave him for season 2. Because it leaves one big antagonistic element of the show for season 2. It's kind of like how Batman Begins doesn't have the Joker. You save the Joker for the second movie. You let the core cast establish themselves first, and then you bring in the evil Veronica dad, who's going to make their lives a nightmare.
Okay, I get you.
I'm not saying you couldn't have had him in season 1. I'm saying I can see how it
it'll
works.
give something to up the stakes.
Yeah. And then season 3, who knows what they're going to do. Well, that said, there may or may not be a rumour. Careful, cat.
About cats attacking.
Well, a cat may be involved.
I hit the nail on the head very accidentally there.
I'm not saying Sabrina or a Sabrina-related character will show up. This is not a spoiler. It's just I've heard mumblings that it's a possibility.
Ooh, exciting. That's how you up the ante for a season 3.
Supernatural. Come on. Bring it. And I mean supernatural elements, not the show Supernatural.
I mean, you say that, but they might be cancelled Supernatural by that point. So we're like, oh yes, and this is led in from it.
Didn't they renew it already?
No, I mean for season 3.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
By season 3, they might go, oh, okay, it's primed, it's got its audience. We can kill off Supernatural now and just pull in the Riverdale audience, pull them straight to that by throwing in Supernatural elements. I
like the idea of it being a spin-off, like having Sabrina as its own show. That's darker and whatever. It's kind of like a Sabrina meets Charm meets something else.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know if Riverdale's doing the numbers to justify a second show, so maybe just bringing Sabrina into...
It depends. If they bring her in season 2 and it does boost, then maybe then it'll justify parallel with the third season.
I think it makes a lot of sense, though, because you have her be the new kid who moves from another town.
Yeah, it does make sense.
With her aunts. It would give you some new characters to play with, because obviously we need some new blood for the second season. They always have to add a couple of characters. We've got Hiram coming in. This would be the other end, where it's a new ally, a new friend. And even if they just hint at the magic stuff, they don't outright go to it. At least not right away.
At least not first. Yeah.
That'd be fun. And they could show the cat but never have him talk, but we know behind closed doors. It's like Toy Story. Behind closed doors. It's behind closed doors that cat's talking.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Alright, we're off in La La Land now. This was a fun episode, I think, for the most part. It was definitely, some of the acting elevated what could have felt soapy.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it more than last week's, for sure.
Yeah, because even the Veronica mum stuff, which last week was the worst part of it, I think this week benefited because it was just a little bit more fun because it was like a rivalry. It was like,
yeah, I was just gonna say it had a fun side to it rather than just, oh, look what I've seen.
Yeah, it was her being defiant. Yeah, and it made it a little bit more of a back and forth, which made it more fun. But now Jughead's good. Betty and Jughead more of a thing, which is cool.
Yeah,
cool for now. They've got chemistry, and Jughead walking her home and her being like, "You don't have to walk me home," and him being all, "Isn't that what people to have been through what we do?" Just say boyfriend, Jughead. Just say, "Isn't that what boyfriends do?" That's all you need to say. Shaky knees. You really do forget what age they're meant to be until someone says, "Don't you walk out that door, young lady." Oh yeah, she's meant to be.
Yeah,
she's meant to be.
Don't
like
you
that
dare
age.
do that on a school night. Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure she. Yeah, sure. Let's just Aye. That's this week's Riverdale. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. Thank you very much for watching. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz for channel updates. Get our individual Twitters on the screen for general everyday ramblings and random thoughts that I may have. And occasionally countdowns. Sometimes I do like top 10s and stuff on Twitter now. I've started this.
Good for you.
It's my thing. Yeah. It was International Women's Day the other day, and I did a top 10 DC female list.
And I had a glance at it. It was fairly shite list.
You're just upset because Starkirl and Zatanna didn't make it.
I am upset because of that, and it didn't have Catwoman on either. What are you playing at?
Heroes. I said heroes. It was heroic characters.
Oh, the bullshit.
I stand by my top 5. You can suck it. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next time.